Tens of thousands of people turned out in bitterly cold weather to protest against water charges. The main event passed off peacefully, but not all protests against water charges have run as smoothly. In a moment, I'll be speaking to TDs Paul Murphy of the Anti-Austerity Alliance and Regina Doherty of Fine Gael. But first, this report from Fran McNulty.
The opposition to water charges is broad. Across the country, people are motivated by this issue. So motivated that yesterday tens of thousands travelled to the capital to make their unhappiness felt. Will it remain a broad-based campaign, or will the hardline elements come to the fore?
No privatization.
Tonight, we look at the different forms of protest, from songs to street, politics to people pressure, and assess their impact.
Ain't you Kenny, not a penny, we won't pay at all, because corruption of your policies is worse than being a fall. Jenny and Kenny, watch the paper trail. Irish water's not for sale. No privatisation. Irish water.
The cost of living keeps going up, and now if I get another bill, I may as well be working for free.
I have priorities at home, unfortunately, and a load of exam scripts, so I'm just coming away, but I stood for about 15 minutes clapping.
Has it surprised you today to see the wide diversity of people here, all makes and shapes and breeds?
It has surprised me because I find that people are not very well motivated, in my opinion, I've found in the 10 years since I've been back, to get up and stand up and be counted. And so the government keeps throwing it at them. Lived in England, if they were doing something you didn't like, you got up, you went out and you protested, that was the end of it.
Are you angry about water charges or more than that?
More than that, much more than that. I think they're treating the less well-off really, really badly. They seem to be paying for everything while the well-off seem to be getting off scot-free.
Would you protest often?
No, this is my first time, actually.
And are you protesting today?
I am absolutely protesting. I'm going to meet my whole family, my 2 brothers, my 2 sisters and my mum are waiting for me at Stephen's Green, and we're all going to come down and protest together as a family.
And we are seeing people from all over the country, from every section of Irish society, young and old, workers and unemployed, pensioners. Everybody is here to say that government must listen and scrap these charges.
Tonight, for the first time, workers with one of the companies installing water meters speak about their experience with a very small minority of those who travel to protest at water meter installation sites. The workers would only speak to us on condition we didn't show their faces.
It's so unpredictable when you get somebody that comes out with a knife, starts waving it in front of you. Golf clubs, baseball bats, hatchet, you know, swinging these things, breaking windows, slashing tires. You're on edge, you're kind of more conscious on what you do, where you go, even to the shop, going home at night. You're kind of watching your back.
Oh, they come in groups, maybe 2 or 3 together in groups, and they come in a car, and then they knock on all those doors, and they come ahead of us, maybe knocking on doors, and then they get everybody else standing out behind them, and then they get people standing out in front of us, and then they pull barriers down, and if there's a young people in the estate, they get them also to pull everything down, and by the time the Gardaí comes in, the whole thing is in disarray.
One particular time at the traffic lights, and a car pulled up beside me, just asked me to roll down the window. I thought they were looking for directions and just spat into my face. There's a different element in these protests right now, and it seems to be organised, and a small group that you continuously see during these protests, that they in turn, the people that do that to your head and tell you get out of town, you know, that they'll recognise you, and it could potentially get worse, you know. It's my job, like I've a wife and a child and mortgage. I need the job, so, you know, work isn't that plenty.
One Irish water executive was willing to appear on camera. He leads the meter installation programme.
I was in a shop at the time, and I was discussing that I was working for Irish Water. When I come out, there was a small crowd outside, probably 16 to 20-year-olds. There probably was 68 of them shouting Irish Water scum. My car was the only car outside the shop at the time, and 2 tyres were slashed. I can't understand why anybody would protest against the working man. If somebody wants to protest, then you're welcome to go walk to the Dáil or walk on O'Connell Street, but don't attack the working man who's there to do their daily job.
If they're not doing the video, they're cowards. They run. They turn their backs. They don't like being caught on camera. They're very good at sticking a camera into your face. And when I say in your face, it's practically touching your face. The camera is back on them. They don't like it.
These are allegations of the most extreme behaviour, but the majority of anti-water charge activists like these are not engaged in any violent behaviour whatsoever, and instead peacefully try to block meter installers in their work, which does appear to breach a High Court injunction. On Tuesday morning, we filmed this activity on a street in Phibsborough in Dublin City. We witnessed no intimidation of workers. The protesters then spotted our camera and took exception to being filmed. A short time later, we left the area. The Right to Water rally in Dublin was peaceful. The vast majority of people present were polite and engaged in legitimate protest. But a small, concentrated group of people are targeting water meter installations. But they are a very small element of what is, for the most part, a group of people genuinely frustrated at the charges and the way the government and Irish Water has handled matters.
Some people have voiced their frustration on the streets, but protest does come in many forms, and others are taking matters into their own hands. We've come to Mullingar to find out more.
Hello, you contact me about a meter. Under the Water Services Act, I have to ask you, you're giving me your permission to take this out.
Several hundred people have called the water meter ferry. These volunteers take serious issue with the installation of water meters and will come to your home and remove your meter at no cost. This activity is illegal and could result in prosecution.
I've been doing quite a few around Mullingar, Eden Derry and places like that. And Kinnegad, a few places, mostly from people who are concerned because the meters can be removed so easily. In the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, about 60. Well, I'm totally aware of the Water Services Act and that I can go to jail for removing them, but I also feel that the way the meters are installed, they're a danger to the public.
What's the difference with what you're doing? You're taking out a meter which is screwed into the water pipe and you're screwing in just a blank cap. There's no difference. You're not improving safety.
Am I not? There's a huge difference. It means that if somebody comes along here at 3 o'clock in the morning to this lady's home, they will have to have a 2-foot bar, like you have seen.
But you buy that in any hardware store. Yeah, you're not massively improving safety here.
Yeah, I'm improving it by 50%. But it's to highlight the issue here, and we're hoping that Irish Water will do something and put it back to a sealed unit and find some other way of doing their metering.
Irish Water claims its meter installation programme is ahead of schedule. It says more than 530,000 metres have been installed to date. It also claims that close to 1 million people have so far registered with them.
There had been some concern about turnout here today, but the large numbers that have poured onto Merrion Square all afternoon are an indication there is still major public support for protest. And the government can be in little doubt that this issue isn't going away anytime soon.
Further demonstrations are planned. So how will government handle the continuation of this campaign? Can it do anything to quell a tide of opposition to the water metering programme? And can the organisers manage to keep people engaged?
These protests in the last number of weeks have achieved more in forcing this government back on the issue of water charges, now on the issue of housing and homelessness, and it has them shaken. So people power is the thing that brings change.